Board of Commissioners meeting on Tuesday, March 10, 2015. Would like to welcome each of you who have come to share in our proceedings, and we ask that you continue to bear with us as we make right decisions and best decisions for our great county. At this time, asking all to please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. The invocation will be led this morning by the Reverend Dan Phillips of Grace Fellowship, Palatka, and our former chair, Commissioner Liber, will lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father, we come before your presence this morning knowing that it is good and it is pleasant when your people are in unity. And Father, we stand before you in unity knowing that you have placed before us the great responsibility of being good stewards of all that you have created and placed before us. Father, for these that sit in positions of leadership and authority and respect, Father, we ask that you guide them and you open their heart and their minds and help them, Father, with clarity of thought and dedication to you and dedication to this county to be the very best leaders they can. Father, for each and every one that has come before this group this morning with a burden, with a problem, with a situation in their heart, to bring before this council, this commission. Father, again, it is good and it is pleasant when your people dwell in unity. May we again be good stewards of all that you have entrusted into our care. And Father, we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Reverend Phillips, thank you again so much for coming and sharing with us the invocation. Commissioners, each of you should have received the minutes from February 24th, 2015, our regular proceedings. What is your pleasure?
Move approval, Mr. Chair.
Proper
Second.
motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. This morning, our property appraiser, the Honorable Tim Parker, is here for an employee recognition. Please come forward and bring that dynamic employee with you.
Good morning. Thank
morning.
you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to recognize Justin Edwards for completing 10 years of dedicated service to our office. Justin wears many hats in our office. Not only is he our liaison between the Information Technology Department, he handles those tasks within our office as well. He's also in charge of our tangible personal property role. Justin is an excellent example of someone who was raised in Palatka, a 1995 graduate of Palatka High School, went off to college and returned to be a part of our community. Justin's involved in our community with the Masons and also the Kiwanis Club of the Azalea City, serving our citizens even after normal work hours. Please join me in congratulating Justin on 10 years of service to the citizens of Putnam County. Our certificate of appreciation reads, "We hereby express our sincere appreciation to Michael J. Edwards for outstanding service and contributions to the citizens of Putnam County for 10 years. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Edwards. When you do your job efficiently under the leadership of Mr. Parker, it reflects on this entire county. We have watched you in action, how you work with our citizens and how you work with your colleagues, and it is very commendable. And thank you so much on behalf of the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Our Health Department Administrator, Mrs. Mary Garcia, is here to share some good news. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here today. Oh, I'm shorter than there. and excited that Putnam County has been selected among the 65 communities that were recognized this year by the Surgeon General, Dr. John Armstrong, for our Healthiest Weight program. We recognize that government has efforts that raise awareness about health and an active lifestyle in our communities, and your support of these policies and roles are important to our community, so we appreciate that. I want to mention that this is the second year that Putnam County has received this recognition. And this year, our submission in cooperation with our Parks and Recreation Department highlighted the Bartram Trail. And the project's mission was to document and recreate the Bartram travels in Putnam County, from world-famous naturalist William Bartram, who traveled through East Palatka in 1765 and 1774. The launch was at the beginning of 2014, so we felt it was perfect for this application. And we really thank Putnam County and your efforts to promote health and support the Florida Department of Health in Putnam County. So I have a recognition. I'll take all of you. Hey, I'm proud. This is a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Congratulations. And
Thank you.
thank you for your leadership in helping our community to be more alert and aware of what we ought to be doing right, that our health is enhanced and increased each year.
Thank you.
Thank you
for
again so
making
much.
the trails part of it.
Oh,
Yes.
we're so excited about that, so we have to figure out what we're going to do about next year. I'm going to leave this box over here.
All righty.
We'll
Thank
see
you
you
again
later.
so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And please pass on to the Health Department staff how pleased we are that you have such a cohesive unit that does work for the betterment of our community. As we know, without your leadership and all of those who every day is concerned and focused in on health, that these things will not come to pass.
A little plug-in if you don't mind.
Okay.
The youth survey came back for substance abuse, and I'm happy to report that for Putnam County since 2006, our numbers have been dropping in tobacco usage, and that is in great part through the leadership of our SWAT efforts in our schools and our youth leadership. I know they've presented to you in the past, and hopefully we'll bring them by again. But we're very pleased. Those won't show up on any rankings until further in the future, because the numbers that they're using for the ones coming out this year are based on 2010, 2012 data. So this is nice new data that will be very complimentary to us going forward. Thank you.
Read some of the articles, and you certainly have some dynamic student leaders that are always enthusiastic about the overall project, and they really lead and they make Putnam County shine. I think throughout the state we've had actually some of the leaders who have been statewide leaders, and that is commendable.
We've been very fortunate, and our past statewide leader is now up in Tallahassee, also leading while he's in college. And on our youth advisory board, Bria Campbell from Putnam County is also a member this year. So we're very fortunate to have Putnam very represented from this
I
group.
just wanted to add the billboard or advertising campaign is getting very clever. They're targeting it to the high school age students, and they have a pile of the one I saw were snuff cans, and it equated to $980, and then it had a picture of 4 brand new 4-wheeler tires, and said, "You can have this if you give up this." Very, very clever. Then, as I went to Tallahassee last week, I saw 2 or 3 of them, and they all were money-oriented and things that a teenager could relate to. And it was very, very clever, whoever's doing that. And how is Kareem Golden, our past
He's
president?
doing absolutely wonderful. He's working with the governor's office, also representing the youth advisories as at the college level. So we're really excited for
He'll
him
go far.
and South Putnam, who we represent. So we're really excited.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the update. Item 5 on this morning's agenda is public comment. We ask all of our citizens to feel free to bring matters to our attention. However, the board will not engage in debate or deliberations on issues that we don't have prior information shared with us. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes, please, and also for the benefit of those who are willing, there are comment cards that are at both entryways coming into this meeting room, and it helps us to be able to reach back out to you in case there is a need for follow-up and additional information on the subject matter that you bring to our attention. If you are, and if you have filled out a public comment card, please submit it to our Deputy Clerk, Ms. Weaver. At this time, I ask Ms. Faye Sparkman if you will please come, Ms. Karen Chadwick if you will follow her. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. First thing I want to say is I handed Larry Harvey another 300 signed petitions this morning that people want modern technology for the landfill.
Okay, I'm the chairman, and you gave it to Mr. Harvey?
Because I trusted him to give it to you.
Oh, very well. Thanks.
Okay, I have a problem with the MSBU's. I truthfully don't think that all of you understand what happened to us in District 4. So if it's okay with you, Mr. Flagg, I would like Walton Pelletier to explain to the public what an MSBU is.
Want Mr. Pelletier to explain it to the public?
Yeah, because most of the people don't know what it is.
Okay, so you want him to give the technical definition or his understanding of it?
I'm going to refer to counsel for that.
Okay.
Let him give it, because I'm sure he can give it more defined than I can, or Mr. Leary, either one.
I just wanted to make sure that you all knew exactly what an MSBU was. Mr. Harvey, you know what it is, don't you?
We all do.
we
And
all do.
hold on 1 second, just as a point of order. We're not going to go up and down
Right, I
here. If
just
you want
want-
the presentation for the benefit of the public, the Municipal Service Benefit Unit, if you want the definition to be expressed to the public, we're not going to go up and down the legislators for that. We will refer to our council to please give a technical definition of that, please.
Okay, and then
Mr.
could you,
Castleberry.
at the end, then could you tell us how we get rid of it?
Okay, let's take one thing at a time because, again, this is public comment. And if you want to be on the agenda for us to elaborate on the
Okay.
MSBU's, we certainly will do that, and we can make that happen. But
Okay.
for your 3 minutes, half of it is gone. Mr. Castleberry.
MSBU is a municipal service benefit unit whereby the county creates a geographic area, decides to, based on desires of the citizens, to provide a specific service, generally road maintenance or paving, and it assesses each piece of property within that geographical boundary to a fee on their tax bill to provide the services, in generally maintenance or paving of roads.
Okay, thank you.
It's a special assessment and not a tax.
And it is not imposed by the county. It was a voluntary creation of that MSBU.
That's been the general practice of the county, to only create them when there is a great desire of the citizens in a particular area to actually do that.
But those people that live within that district must sign up for that and agree to that. Is that
They don't
correct?
have to sign up. I don't understand the question, I guess.
Well, it's not, is it something the county imposes upon them, or something they choose to have imposed
It
upon
is
themselves?
It is something that the county could impose without taking any citizen requests or desires or petitions, but the county has had a policy of only doing it when there was I don't know if we had a percentage or whatever. We only did it when enough people signed petitions requesting that we do it.
Okay.
And I don't think we've ever done one without great support of the people in the area.
And also, the MSBU situation really is occurring because of the practices prior to having proper subdivision ordinances and codes and things of that nature. So it's really a way to try to rectify past situations that should not be happening as of today. because developers are now required to have some minimal standards in each of those areas. And so we do recognize and realize that the MSBUs have an imbalance. And I have been, as chairman, I have been in discussion with the county administrator, and we do share in the concerns of individuals that are in MSBUs as it relates to being able to get a more balanced return on the investment. So, you know, there are some things that happen prior to comprehensive plans and regulations as it relates to growth and development, and the MSBUs was an opportunity to keep us from being any further behind than what we were. However, as times have evolved and times have changed, there is a need to do some tweaking and some counterbalancing, if I may, of those situations. And it's no different in any progressive movement. You do need to go back and tweak and look at it. And so we are looking at the MSBUs, not from the perspective of trying to repeal the MSBU, but to make it more efficient and to make sure that there are no exclusive benefits that MSBU should be realizing that they have not realized. So that is under review.
Okay, just so you know, when we moved here, we were on the side with an MSTU.
Okay.
They called a meeting down at the high school, and the board, we had no say-so. We were not given perditions or not. The board voted in at that time that we would have MSBUs in our district, just so you know that.
Okay. So let's by general consensus, let's put a discussion on the agenda so that everyone can be prepared to talk about the subject of MSBUs, MSTUs, and when we can do that review, and we could also talk about how progressively we're thinking to make sure that any inequities that may exist in 2015 that did not exist, you know, when they were created is counterbalanced. And that's no more than fair for us to do that, and we're willing.
And I have one other little paper I'm going to give you. This is some statistics about 315. The rest I will have for you to follow. But right now on 315, 2,193 students are in the 3 schools. We have 17 deputies, and that includes the captain. The volunteer fire departments and EMS workers I will have for you in 2 weeks, letting you know how bad 315 is, the lives that you have at stake. So I'm going to give
Yes,
this
ma'am.
to you.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't.
Again, thank you so much for sharing the data with us, and we do know that 315 is overtaxed, and we will continue to hear your concerns, sharing those concerns, and move us forward. Mr. Harvey.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Ms. Sparkman, last Friday we had a meeting here, Ms. Burge and myself and Mr. Djokovic, about the MSBUs. I have 5 in my area, 231 miles worth of dirt roads. Yesterday I sent an email to our administrator about some of the inequities that our chairman's talking about, and we are looking at ways to clean some of that up. Back years ago when they were first started, I was president of the Landowners Association. We had to get something done in the West Putnam area because the county just couldn't maintain our roads. And we've done a good job, but we didn't foresee what was taking place with Better Place Plan monies and things. So we are working that out, and we're going to have an answer for that pretty soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Ms. Chadwick, you're next. Good morning.
Morning, thank you. I was concerned about the water quality in the Rodman area, and I was looking into the herbicide applications. And I sent this email with a link to all of you that shows that 172 acres last year were sprayed with herbicides in Rodman, and at a cost of $10,000. So I hear a lot of people saying, you know, the water is never sprayed, it's just managed by the drawdown, but that's, you know, obviously not true, and I have photographs of all that, you know, when it was all blocked and after they sprayed it, and it was all brown and settling into the water. And then last week I went to a meeting about, over at the IFAS facility, about the Orange Lake management with the herbicides. They want to do a big cleanup of all the, like get rid of the floating tussocks and manage it just for open water, excuse me, for boating. And there was a man there, Don Stubbs, has been with the EPA for 36 years. And he said most herbicide production companies are foreign, and those companies fund their own risk to benefit studies. That's kind of like what you were talking about, the scientists who are paid to do the studies. You know, it's can be questionable, the results. I asked if the EPA duplicates those studies to verify results, and he said no, they just go over they review the studies and determine whether they're approved or not for use in the states. So you remember DDT and Agent Orange they thought that it was okay. So if there are foreign companies funding the studies, the companies that are making the products that are being used here, that's causes me concern. What is in that, So, and then also I sent this in, the counts from the last 3 years that do show that during the 2011 and 12 period that the visitor counts were higher than the following 2 years, which is what I've observed personally being out there. I live right by Kenwood, and I go down there during the drawdown and not during the drawdown, and it does seem like there are a lot more people out there, and that does prove it, I suppose you could say.
Ms. Chadwick, thank you again for, number one, for sharing. We receive from time to time anonymous emails, and we receive anonymous newsletters and a whole lot of things. And when you receive those kind of documents, you can't call and confirm their source, and things get repeated, and we call those rumors. And once those things are repeated over and over and over and over and over, people start believing and without having facts. And so thank you so much for sharing and also allowing us to know the source of your information when it's all said and done. The county's position on this entire situation is more related to us having representation through both the House and the Senate. And so that's why we fine-tuned the resolution that was originally proposed to make sure that we have someone in Tallahassee that can be brought up to speed as it relates to what needs to happen. And I want all of our citizens to know that this Board of County Commissioners will certainly not be making the decision alone on the future. We will have input just like any of our other citizens will have, but we will not be the decision makers. We will not be the jury, for lack of a better word, as it relates to Rodman. We asked to be brought to the table for this discussion because the discussion obviously was brought to our attention through the news media, and blessings upon the news media when there are situations that are going on that various people who need to know or who ought to know does not know. But at the same time, we are monitoring. We are getting information that there is a meeting that is going to be scheduled even, I think, next week in Tallahassee. Everyone that is along the St. Johns River has been requested to be represented there. There's a regional meeting that is coming up. There is nothing that's going to happen overnight where someone, obviously waves a magic wand. We have individuals in this county that are all the way to one extreme and all the way to the other extreme. And it's so important that those of us who are elected to represent, that we are optimistic, we're open-minded, and that we listen well, and that we bring back the facts there and be a partner to this. So thank you so much for your presentation.
Can I just ask, what do you mean everyone along the St. Johns River
Those individual communities that are along the St. Johns River have been invited to come to an open forum in Tallahassee. And then when I'm saying everyone, I'm saying the various communities and its open government there for that to happen. Contrary to what some folk think, there is no secret meeting as it relates to an elected official there as serving as a board. And so that meeting, I understand, is going to be publicized as well. But it's a part of Representative McBurney, is that his name?
Yes, sir.
There, that is this calling for, and it's going to be during their regular committee meeting.
And when is that? Do you know?
17th of March.
8 o'clock in the morning.
How are people supposed to know about that? That's the first I've heard
Well,
of it.
again, it's a committee meeting. The stuff that's happening in Tallahassee right now, if we don't follow up on it, we won't know about it.
Right.
So yes, so it's a matter of going to the website and following what's happening in the committee there. And so it's not, again, a decision that's being made, but committees are showing interest in what's happening throughout the state.
Thank you. I just hate for people to be misled. The water is not pristine, and please don't drink it. It's got a lot of stuff
I didn't
in
know
there,
that
you know.
someone was advertising that it was potable water there, but either way.
It would take a lot
thank
to
you for
clean it
bringing
up.
it to our attention.
Thank you.
Okay, that is all of the speaker cards that I have there. Individuals who choose to come and speak, who have not submitted a speaker's card, this is your opportunity to come and share with us.
Good morning, everybody.
sir.
Why you smiling?
You want me frowning?
I say you were smiling. Had you had a chance to go and look at that trail where I mentioned about the water eroding?
Yes, sir.
And had y'all come to some kind of conclusion on what y'all can do to kind of get some of that water off us before we start getting into the rainy season?
That is a public works question, and again, I try to make it as precisely clear. If you could pose the question, yes, sir, I have had opportunity to go and ride the area that you spoke of. I do know that it is a work in progress. It's not progressing along maybe as quickly as you think it should there, but I am relying on our engineers to make sure that that water situation is resolved. We had an extensive meeting in our strategic planning on last week. Public Works know where we stand and what has to happen, and so it's not falling on deaf ears.
Okay, I got another question.
Yes, sir.
Anytime a contractor bid on a job, is it not that contractor responsibility to have all his material and supplies and everything to do that job when he give a bid on a contract?
It depends on the specificity of the contract. Oftentimes, a contract may be a partnership that requires the county to provide some materials, and so unless we're looking at the specific contract to know what the material expectations are, what the labor side and things of that nature. So if there is a specific contract that you have in mind, if you can tell us where it is and what project it is, we can pull the contract and we can follow.
Well, the fire station, I noticed that it seemed like the county is putting more, time into hauling dirt out there for the fire station. Then I look at most jobs, like when you built your church, it wasn't your responsibility to bring your lumber and your bricks and all of that there. The county have so much work that needs to be done till I don't understand why would you actually contribute, time that could be going towards the taxpayers on cleaning ditches, fixing roads, putting dirt along some of the holes, and building up roads that have been washed out. But when you see a truck constantly going hauling dirt one way, and then you drive down the road, you're dropping in holes along the shoulder, it kind of seems like the taxpayers kind of getting the short end of the stick, because this man making a living, and at the same time, he getting help to make a living, but the ones paying the taxes have to deal with all these bad roads and stuff. And even I still come back again and was wondering, when are they going to fix McCormick Road in front of the post office? That's actually an eyesore. There's so many things in the county is being neglected, just like the railing on Moody Road. As long as they've been finished with that project, they hadn't even put the rails up. And even behind the road department on Camp Road, the road done caved in. All they do is put up a barricade. Go down Cracker Swamp Dirt Road. They got a big hole on the side of the road. They need to stop Band-Aiding and start completing. They started digging the ditch on Putnam Boulevard. They made it right up there by the fence at the county road department. Stopped. They ain't never been back. If they don't stop playing checkers throughout the county, there's nothing going to be completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spells, for your comment and your observations. And our Public Works Department definitely is understaffed. We have known that for years. Again, you have to recognize and realize the dilemma that we're in. We had a strategic meeting last week with our leaders in Public Works, and they're doing their level best to do some efficiencies. And so you will also see some progress in those various areas. So thank you again for your observations. Any other public comments? We will move past public comments. Commissioners, we have the consent agenda as the next item. It has already been requested. Our administrator wanted to elaborate more on item C, and then plus we do have Mr. Rick Haven who wants to make some conversation as well. Are there any other items that any of the commissioners choose to pull before approval of the consent agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to pull item H, please.
Okay, item H is pulled.
I'd like to pull item G.
Item G is pulled. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Items A, which is list of committee minutes recommendation distributed to become part of the record. Item B, list of correspondence distributed to become part of the record. Item D, Public Works FDOT Supplemental Joint Participation Agreement Number 1, $232,240. Additional funding for the FPL street lighting for concrete utility poles along US 17 in East Palaca. Item E, Public Works Resolution authorizing execution of FDOT utility work agreement for financial reimbursement of relocation of county water main along State Road 15, which is Highway 17, which was approved in January of 2015. Item F, Public Works bid number 15-08, award to Halifax Paving Incorporation, $2,356,806.95, which is the SCOP program, and supplemented by the Better Place Plan, $362,000, milling and resurfacing of County Road 209 from West River Road to Palmetto Bluff Road. Item I, Public Works modification number 3 to Division of Emergency Management subgrant, $10,800, hazard mitigation grant program agreement for Palmetto Bluff drainage, $8,100 FEMA, $2,700 transportation. Item J, administration, reappointment of Commissioner Chip Leibel and Alex McCoy, 2015 to 2017 North Florida Economic Development Partnership Board of Directors. I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Move approval.
Proper motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item C, resolution authorizing USDA state revolving fund loan program application for wastewater treatment plant. Mr. Leary.
Yes, sir. This resolution would authorize the final component of the funding for the wastewater system under construction in East Palaca. The funding for that system is being provided for by a grant and loan from the Rural Development, USDA Rural Development, and State Revolving Loan Fund in two separate parcels. The first first part of that has already been completed. The second component of that, which is before you today, has been held off until this point to ascertain the exact amount that might be needed, which has been determined to be $1,402,000. This resolution has been provided to us by the State Revolving Loan personnel, and has just simply been modified for the county's use. But this is the final paperwork that will complete the funding for that project.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners thus far?
Mr. Leary, I do.
Mr. Harvey.
402,000 is the new loan. Is that what we're?
$1,402,000 to
Okay.
complete the project funding for the.
How long is that for? How many years?
It'll be a 20-year loan.
20-year loan. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Mr. Rick Haven, good morning.
What again?
$1,402,000.
Okay, my turn?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Going through the 2012 CAFA report, we got several revolving loans in there that won't even mature, one of them not to 2029 and one to 2048, both of which are being paid by funds out of the Better Place Plan. In addition to the loans, there were also bonds sold. Revenue bond, again, this is for the East Putnam water treatment. $4,268,000. That's Revenue Series 2008B. $2,054,900. This is the Department of Agriculture, again, a Series 2008A bond, both of which the repayment is $275,000 a year out of the Better Place Plan. I mean, how many times can you keep borrowing for the water treatment system and taking it out of the Better Place Plan? Sooner or later, you're going to run out of money. And isn't this going to be repaid this new one, 1,402,000 again, is going to be funds out of the Better Place Plan. You're trying to take and get loans when you don't even know whether or not this is going to pass and vote. If I had a house and kept going and borrowing loans to fix up my house, at some point I'm going to run out of money to pay the loans.
Yes, sir. There's a difference in using the funds to repay versus pledging, collateral, and we all have to do that in order to do business, except the few who does not.
No, at some point I stop getting loans until I can get even. I can't keep spending out of my paycheck until I run out of checks.
Yes, sir. And you're right. That works for you personally. This county, who happens to be an economically disadvantaged county, strives every single day to maximize the dollars. And in many cases, we do have to leverage situations in order to advance us. And because we are an anemic county with an anemic tax base, we have had to, over the years, operate on grants and on loans.
No, at some point you just got to stop spending.
Yes,
That's the problem with not only the county but across the whole United States. We're spending. You got the Federal Reserve is printing some $85 billion a month in Treasury bonds, and they turn around and take them themselves, amortizing our debt against debt, and then you guys are almost doing the same thing. You got to stop spending.
Well, thank you for your analogy, but let me give you this analogy, Mr. Haven. There are people in their households who go on shopping sprees. There are other people who are investing, and this county commission is investing in infrastructure to make sure that we can do what we've been charged to do, and that is to make our county a progressively economic developed community. And over the years, it's been a long process. And so investments are being made. Now, if you have evidence of the county recklessly spending taxpayers' dollars, then certainly bring that to the table. But don't compare us to the federal government, because
how about
we have to balance.
Okay, how about the increase in the landfill? That's reckless spending as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
At some point, you're going to come back to the taxpayers and raise our property values to pay for these loans.
Okay, nothing as it relates to the landfill is being done maliciously. If you can rewind the tape and replay, you will see that this commission took the initiative to slow the train down. We knew that there would be temporary consequences in slowing it down, but at the same time, we do have regulatory agencies that pretty much dictate to us and tell us things. We have citizens on one side in our left ear that are telling us, do not privatize, do not regionalize. We've got citizens in the right ear that's saying, you know what, we can't afford these rates. And at some point in time, this commission is deliberating day in and day out on how we're going to counterbalance our current dilemma, because every single one of us are paying taxes. Some of us are paying taxes not only as private citizens, but as entrepreneurs and business owners in this community. And when it's all said and done, there is no free ride. We're feeling the heat. We're feeling the pain, and it's not just the heat because our citizens are coming to us. We're feeling the heat because we're economically challenged as well, and we're trying to make the very best decisions, and we're hoping over the next few weeks that we will have some reports that's going to shed some additional light on the subject. But when it's all said and done, this legislative body has to give instructions to the administrative component of county government, and we've got to move us forward. And so that's where we are. Yes, sir, Commissioner.
Thank you. Yes, sir. One of the main things that we're doing with the water and sewer, as Commissioner Flagg mentioned, is to help bring forward jobs. I remember that you mentioned at one of the meetings that you haven't seen much in the way of that. And part of it is that our county is missing with infrastructure. Industries that come in want water and sewer. And one thing that I really wanted to clarify, you mentioned we're paying that with the Better Place Plan. There's a very small part of it that we've pledged the Better Place Plan. And the loans that we get from USDA are grants and loans. And actually, we're paying for a very small part of the whole bill because of going through USDA and getting the grants that we got. And I wanted Mr. Leary to elaborate a little bit about the amount that comes from the Better Place Plan and why, so that you can understand that. We're not paying whole bills with that and not spending what we don't have. So, Mr. Leary, could you just elaborate on how we're paying? And the loans are for 40 years usually, right?
Well, the USDA rural development loans are for 40 years. But yes, there is some money being allocated for the retirement of principal and interest on the USDA loans, which are, of course, were invested for capital improvement purposes for the construction of the system. So there is some Better Place money being allocated to assist with that until such time as the user fees are sufficient to retire that debt themselves. And of course, that will occur hopefully when we have a sufficient customer base to generate enough revenue so that we can relieve the Better Place Plan of that burden.
And the Better Place Plan, one of its purposes was to develop infrastructure and water and sewer.
Certainly.
So it's being used exactly for what it was pledged to do. And it is, I want you to understand it's a very important thing for our county that we do that so we can get out of the position.
If it was important, then why did you continue the moratorium on the impact fees? The impact fees are what's supposed to take and pay for those increased things for the businesses you want to bring in. You know, if a business is going to come here, I think Craig Sherrar pointed out 2 weeks ago. Look at all the Family Dollar stores and so forth that are built here. They would have paid the $21,000 in a heartbeat. It wouldn't have made any difference to them, and that would have contributed to then for all these things you want to do, the water treatment systems and so forth, to attract more businesses. But at some point, you're putting this in the back of all the taxpayers that live here.
Okay, Mr.
And
Haven,
that's wrong.
You're speaking from a kaleidoscope of issues and activities there. You've gone now over to the impact fees, and in the wisdom of the local legislators in looking at, we have to not only look at it from what's happening within our county, we have to look at this region, we have to look at our state, and we are in global competition. There's no ifs and buts about that. But the truth of the whole matter is, when we are looking at the forecast and we're listening to the economics and the dynamics of our own community, it's a lot of factors that we weigh in on to make a decision as it relates to whether we should continue the moratorium or whether or not it should be, lifted. When it's all said and done, we can take one slice of the pie and we can make it one thing, and we can take another slice and make it another situation. We're looking at the entire pie. We're looking at the entire condition that we fit in Northeast Florida. And yes, we may be the last to grow. We may be the last to thrive in this area. We're learning from others' mistakes who have had what you call expeditious growth. But when it's all said and done, if our community will continue to pull together in the same direction, keep us on point, we don't have an issue there. But when we're comparing apples and oranges, it does make it difficult for us to express and explain the dynamics of what you're saying, because you're now moving over into impact fees, which is totally different from what we started.
That was just, because Mrs. Harris said that one of the reasons we're spending this money is to attract businesses here. And my point was, and Craig's point 2 weeks ago was, then you should have kept the impact fees, and the business would have paid for that infrastructure that you're trying to put in there for businesses. But right here, just in the loans you did in 2008, encumbers $550,000 alone just to pay for the bonds. How about the loans themselves and the interest rate? the loan payment on one of them is $113,600 a year. The loan payment, the other one's $228,300 a year. So there's almost $400,000. So we got $1 million coming out of the Better Place plan just to pay these two loans.
Okay, I
And
can't
now you're
speak-
going to get another loan.
I can't speak to the dynamics of the numbers that you are bringing because you, again, have done your homework, I'm sure. But one thing that I must say to you and to our community as a whole, we cannot sit back and be pitiful. We have to do certain things and make wise choices and also invest in our infrastructure so that we can cross the threshold of economic advancement. We have to do that. And so, although the season of us being in the valley has been a little bit more extensive than what all of us would have wanted it to be, we appreciate, again, the accountability that is required of us, but at the same time, we are moving toward the things that you would want a sustainable county to look like. And it's a process to get there. It is a process to get there. None of us, again, when it comes down to even dealing with the issue of waste, you know, how much is enough, how much is too much? You know, if economy of scale works there, then it means you need more to pay the fee that you're paying now, but as long as you have less, then it has to be subsidized. And it's a business decision, and it's very complicated, all of the reports and the hundreds of pages that each of us have to process independently and then come in this public meeting and bring all of our thoughts together so that we can reach a consensus and move us forward. That really is what it's about. And we're striving, sir.
To me and to most of the people in this audience, it's reckless spending.
Okay, thank you for your opinion and thank you for showing up to share that with us. Okay, Ms. Janet Smith, you also wanted to speak on this issue.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I see these lovely charts out here in the hall, and the thing is, you're obviously proud of that. Now, there's some things you could look at, you know, the 0.1 mile here and there we wonder about. But to Mr. Haven's point, why do we not have such detail on exactly what the Better Place plan has been obligated for? Today, you're obligating more. But where is that report that says how many things Better Place plan is the secondary for from 2002 all the way to the present day? On the figures that Mr. Jones brought, we see that there is a debt service of $1.583,261. And we see a list of things completed, but we see a couple of recurring, and that is not explained. Therefore, we do not have a full report on exactly how much in total has been obligated out of the Better Place plan. And again, we are rushing to ballot when we don't have full information. One thing that was very, very worrisome to us is the Oversight Committee chairman requested that you keep the wording the same so that they could look over the debt aspect. In particular, when Commissioner Harvey was talking about retiring some debt on the jail, which has to do directly with our taxes, that was just kind of put aside. And also the words that Mr. Jones asked for were decided that no, we won't have those in there anymore, and that was your personal decision because there was no discussion of that. So just wanted to...
Whose personal decision, Ms. Smith?
Yours, sir.
Okay, there are 5 elected officials up here, and one of us cannot move the county's business forward. It does take 3.
Well, when Mr. Jones asked for having that input, if you go back and actually listen to what was said, that point was not discussed. And furthermore, all the other citizens' requests about that wording were frankly ignored.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Okay. Commissioners, you have before you resolution authorizing USDA State Revolving Fund Loan Program application for the wastewater treatment plant. What is your pleasure?
Chairman, I'd like to move it forward, but with a comment that the county's audit annual audit is available to anybody in the audience anytime you want to get a copy and read it, and it would help in your decision to see if we're on sound financial footing or not. With that, I move.
Second.
Have a proper motion and a second. Further discussion? District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 3? Yes. Thank you very kindly. Item G, Public Works, Florida Department of Transportation, Transportation Regional Incentive Program Agreement and Resolution, widening and resurfacing of County Road 216 from State Road 100 to U.S. Highway 17, $780,000. Mr. Lytle.
No.
No, this was Commissioner Harris.
Okay.
Commissioner Harris, I'm sorry.
Thank you. One of the most important things that we need to do as a county to pull ourselves up is to keep jobs and bring new jobs. And this is exactly one of those things. When the governor came to Palatka and met with us, I was chair at the time, and I met with him, and I told him that we had an existing business, Georgia Pacific, and that they had been to see us, and 216 is the main road that their trucks come in and out, and it's only 2 lanes. They needed a turn lane, and they needed it widened. They would have backlogs of trucks lined up and blocking traffic. And we need to keep industries that are in our county going. We need to support them. We need to keep the jobs that we have, just as important as bringing new ones in. I told him how important this was. Jobs are one of his things too. And he brought this forward and moved it up on the list. And now it's coming before us. So he said he would do what he could, and he brought some things home. And this is coming before us, and the state is going to pay for that. We're going to keep an industry functioning better in our county and keeping some jobs. And I didn't want that just to slip through without us recognizing it.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, safety and jobs. So with that, I'd like to move approval of item G.
We have a proper motion on the floor to move the agreement and resolution, and second.
Multiple seconds.
Multiple seconds,
For
thank
those
you.
that are wondering, it's the Mill Road, as we
Yes.
refer to it.
Most definitely. Further discussion? District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 3? Yes. Motion carries. Item H, Public Works, perpetual easement to FDOT for bike path along a part of State Road 100, $1, 400 feet east of State Road 19 and State Road 100 intersection, and 60 feet north of edge of State Road 100.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask Mr. Jacofovich to the podium, please. And Mr. Jacofovich. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Don, all I needed on this was a little bit of clarity. I know that acquisitions are going on in that area right now. We have some business owners that are requesting the trail not follow the railroad bed and detour through Phillips Dairy Road, and I just want to ask what you have heard lately on that discussion.
Actually, we haven't heard anything different in the last month or so. This is just giving us an easement in case we use it. There's no indication that we're getting any funding there, no construction funds at all programmed for that.
Okay. I agree with the easement, and but in your conversations, which are more frequent than we commissioners or the trail committees, if you could just express our desire to maybe incorporate Phillips Dairy Road, which ironically comes out to meet our Palatka Urban Trail. It's a better alignment, in my opinion.
Yes, and they're looking at that.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay, Ms. Smith?
Who is?
Ms. Janet Smith, her card indicates she wants to speak about this issue. It's been answered, okay?
Thank you, Don.
Entertain a motion to
moved, Mr.
authorize
Chair.
perpetual easement. Proper
Second.
motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Item 7 on the agenda is Dr. Neil Letts' recommendation to export solid waste and abolish recycling. Welcome, Dr. Letts. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. This is in 2006, Tim Kaiser and I fought this battle, which we're fighting again, to
stop this trash importation fiasco. We won then, and we thought we won on the poll, and the commissioner's decision to delay this, and you appointed a committee. However, in 2014, there appeared the Leary Castleberry Gas proposal 5-fold landfill expansion. But this thrust to continue the expansion continues via a committee that by and large looks to Mr. Gast and a hired moderator. I don't know where he came from and who he's paying for it, as sources of alternatives, ignoring representatives from Waste Management and A-Page. Now, this committee barely touches on the other alternatives, which are exporting, incineration, pyrolysis, gasification. Waste Management has two goals. One is to reduce volume, which can be done about 90% reduction, and the second is very important, is to trap or destroy toxins. Expanding landfilling does not satisfy any of these criteria. Mr. McIntyre and Mr. McGinnis attend the meetings and are ignored. They could answer questions that would direct our commission toward developing requests for proposals written by the commission rather than by Mr. Castleberry and Mr. Leary that are sprung on the commission in the Palatka Daily News. And that springing is what pulled me back into this battle, which I thought we had won permanently in 2006, but apparently not. There are serious flaws in our county management drive our solid waste costs to the highest top two in Florida. Our Waste Pro Sham recycling program processes 4 tons or 2% of our daily 180 tons of waste, or 20 tons weekly times 50 equals 1,000 tons yearly, and it's billed to us at over $1 million on our tax bills, and this comes out to $1,000 a ton. Now, 2% means nothing to the landfill volume, but at $1,000 a ton, we could do away with this today, and everybody looks at me kind of funny and says, no, it can't be done somehow. I think you call up Waste Pro and say, we're not going to pay for this anymore. Don't run those honey wagons around and charge us $1,000 a ton. Now, why hasn't your search committee picked this little fact up? All it took me was a telephone call to Waste Management. I said, how many tons do you process a week? I said 20 tons a week. 180 tons a day, 2%. Mr. Gass claims that using groundwood as cover dirt at the landfill somehow filters leachate, when the only possible source of benzene and methane is buried wood and paper, because plastics and tires are inert. They don't ooze anything out. Now, dirt is silicon dioxide or sand, which we make glass out of, and wood and paper are putting toxins in the top, which we're sucking out of the bottom as leachate toxins. Paper and wood must be kept above ground for combustion or gasification. Now, you all have my pie graph. Pie graph I discovered is published by the EPA, who ought to know a little bit about what's going on in the whole U.S. And it shows, if you look down in the lower left corner, that the only decent energy sources to run gasification are rubber and plastics, which are made out of crude oil, which gives us our gasoline, diesel fuel, and jet fuel. Now, paper is a very poor source source of energy because it's got 60% water bound up in its molecules. Now, in order to make gasification work, the Fischer-Tropsch process was invented in Germany to take coal and shoot steam on it when it's burned, so you get your carbon monoxide and your hydrogen. So the carbon monoxide can be regarded as half-burned coal, and hydrogen is hydrogen, and the mixture is called syngas. And you take the syngas, run it through some metal catalyst to get your diesel fuel and your gasoline and your jet fuel. As the graph shows, the process does not have enough carbon hydrogen. It must be increased by increasing the percentage of rubber and plastics beyond the 20%, as much as possible. Paper is 60% and wood 52% chemically combined water. It's got to be driven out by the energy in the process. The dirt and water and yard waste and food waste make them very poor energy sources. For example, a solid paper phone book or anything else is hard to keep burning, while wood is much easier, and charcoal briquettes, which are made out of roasting wood to drive the water out of it, burn very well because it's almost pure carbon. So gasification with all this wood and paper going in, you get plenty of oxygen, and you gotta get more carbon and hydrogen in there, which could come from tires. Now, I think Mr. Leibel is very familiar with what it costs to, and I would ask you a question. How much did you pay to get rid of your tires per ton?
It could run as high as $125 up to $145.
Now, we imported tires. We went and got them. Could be money coming in. You got to shred them in order to avoid mosquitoes, and you can pile them above ground. The only problem is a fire hazard, so you get a lot of dirt around with your front end loaders and a lot of water out of a pond, so if in a very unlikely chance that this catches fire, you got to put it out fast. Otherwise, you don't have to bury them. If you go out to landfill, you find these mined tires stacked all over the place. They're scattered. It's a mess. They dug them out. If we imported them and charged the people who send them to us a collection fee and store them, and shredders cost, the biggest shredders, which would handle far more than we're likely to get, cost $1 million brand new. You can go online, and whoever would go out there and get one could shop around and find stuff, you know. I mean, I buy used cars because they're a lot cheaper, and they run just as far, you know. Nobody wants tires. He told you what you can get for them. Mr. Leibel's been there, done that. He's paid. We have Mr. Gas telling us, oh, we got to bring the tires in. It's going to cost us $80 a ton. Then we're going to shred them and export them. I say, why export them? You're going to need them for solid waste, for gasification. The future is in thermal treatment of waste. The future is not going backwards and increasing our volume of solid waste. It's decreasing the volume of solid waste. And you got to control the toxins, not by pouring wood into our landfill and burying it and creating methane and benzene, but you need something to trap the heavy metals and the arsenic, in which the beauty of the gasification process is that it turns this stuff into a liquid substances which melt in with your silicon dioxide and comes out as glass. Exactly the same process that the government uses to clean up our World War II nuclear waste. Exactly the same process. Now, the business model for collection, shredding of tire fuel will not happen instantaneously in the short run, but should not be neglected in our present plans for the future. I just talked to Mr. Latham and Mr. Guinness about it. I said, this is a talking point. They've tried tires. I say, we limit 4 tires per family per year. Why the heck can't Waste Pro just throw them into their trucks as they go by every week and stack, get a shredder and shred them up and stack them and get ready for the future? No. Here's another thing. Mr. McGinnis, Mr. Latham tell me that the landfill can be placed dormant. We're always told, well, we either import and keep it open or we got to close it. Now, this is what we get. But they tell me that I'm going to use the word dormant, but we don't have to close the landfill. Now, the next question is, if they want to buy property here, then you're going to have to work it out. I think it's just a piece of dirt. You can lease it, you can rent it, or you can buy it, and what's the problem? There's no problem. We're told that it costs over $1 million in a year to build a transfer station. This will be in their request for proposal. And I think, as I understand the process right, you develop the request for proposal and then they abide by it. Now, I think these gentlemen should come before the commission or a workshop of you commissioners and sit down and discuss personally, because our management is not capable of doing this. Our county management keeps bringing this landfill thing back up and back up and back up. And we cannot bring more trash in the county. It's going backwards. It's not even standing still. This is one of the reasons this type of mentality drives the brightest students out of this county. They take one look at this county and how it's run and they say, goodbye, I'm going to college and I'm not coming back. It's called, I'm not going to use that term, but now, there's no doubt in my mind that Waste Management or another company's long-term goals are reducing waste to zero, and their business experience has shown them the necessity of abandoning landfilling in the long term, which they are trying to figure out what to do. In the shorter run, Waste Management is ready to accept a request for proposal to bail us out of our immediate problem by exporting our 180 tons daily. That includes constructing a transfer station, which is only needed. We only can put it in 8 trucks and haul it to Georgia. 8 trucks. The Leary Castleberry plan was going to stick us with $25 million of cost and run 100 trucks a day on our roads. Now, also, this we're told it's going to take a year to build a transfer station, and they tell me you can do it in 3 or 4 months easily. So, now this is approximate figures, and I think I'm pretty close. Brings up the problem of our county administrator, who keeps thrusting this expansion in our faces despite the most recent rejection amount trash more and landfill sales. Committee appointed by the commissioner somehow came under the control of Mr. Gass, and some guy is a coordinator. What I got here? He's a coordinator, and he hands out all this stuff, and he writes stuff on the board, and he tells the commission, well, this is what we're going to do. There's a committee, not the commission, the committee. Tells the committee, gee, this is what we're doing, right? And everybody sits there, you know. It was very troublesome to have, they allowed 10 minutes at the end of their meeting for everybody to give comments, and I've had Mr. McIntyre and Mr. McGinnis sit there in the whole meeting, and the people are going blah, 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 blah. How many tons should we import? Should we close the transfer stations that we have both south, east, and in the west? And gee, that would save money. And then people say, yeah. And then people are going to start tossing tires in the woods, you know. Why can't we just throw them in our Waste Pro trucks, you know? Seriously. You know, they go by. we want to throw them in the bush, or we want to collect them, shred them, and store them and get ready for plasma arc? You know, it's so simple. So now, again, if you want to save $1 million today or maybe next week, I would make a motion to say we're not going to pay Waste Pro $1,000 a ton to handle out 24 tons a day. You know, not going to do it. $4,000 for 4 tons a day. I mean, where's your search committee? So, oh, we have Mr. Castleberry and Mr. Leary, are authors of the 2% 1,000-ton phony republic recycling program. The proposed 1,000 ton a day, 100 trucks a day, 15-year contract to increase our putrid, poisoned, expensive 1 garbage to 5 garbage bars, which the taxpayers have already voted down twice. I mean, how many times is this rubber ball, dirty rubber ball, going to be popped back on us? Mr. Leary almost, if you're talking about Better Places money, he almost fell out of his chair at the last meeting with delight that the Special Places money be used to retire debt. More money to squander. Mr. Leary and Mr. Castleberry must go.
Mr. Letts.
I am not finished, sir. You talk
Yes,
a
sir.
lot.
Well,
You
listen,
talk
listen,
a lot. I'm
listen to me.
talking
I
to the
didn't- I didn't
commission.
say you
I
were
am
finished.
talking, Mr.
Okay, and so am I. Hold your point just a moment, please.
No, I'm not holding. I have about 2 paragraphs, and I'll be done.
I'm going to let you
I am
finish.
going to talk, and you talk too much, sir.
You're also going
You
to
talk
abide-
too much.
You're also going to abide by the rules.
You
in the-
talk too much.
So do you.
The rules, you talk too much, sir.
Mr. Letts.
Now,
Mr. Letts.
Mr. Castleberry should go.
Mr. Letts.
Mr.
Letts.
Castleberry should go.
Please.
We export our garbage. We keep our landfill dormant.
Mr. Letts.
Stop $1 million
Mr. Letts.
recycling scam, and we don't allow Leary and Castleberry to write RFPs.
Mr. Letts, you could finish your commentary if you would listen, but you refuse not to. Thank you.
Let's move.
Okay. We're going to take a 5-minute recess.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Y'all run my ad yet? Working on it. Good.
Tim, Mr. Letts, he may have a wallet up here.
Check the audit. I think Mr. Anderson's not here today. I'll see if I can get it together. I'll see if I can get it together. Okay.
Our meeting is now back in session. Out of all due respect, there were some individuals who were not related to the presentation whose name was used, and they have requested that they have opportunity just to come and to make a statement for the record. Please come forward. State your name and address for the record. There's no commentary required by any of us, just for the record. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come up and discuss our concerns. My name's Charlie Latham, and I'm standing with Dan McGinnis. We're both representatives of Waste Management Incorporated of Florida. Although we understand that there's a lot of emotion associated with this topic, we're here at the to help the county in any way we can. We've stated publicly that we have options that we think are potentially beneficial to the county, and we'd be happy to discuss them at any time. We never have and never will seek the assistance of citizens to represent our position. We've been treated with graciousness and courtesy by the committee and by this commission as well, and we certainly intend to act the same way. we'd be interested in talking about this anytime publicly. I know Janie Coleman has been before the commission and expressed her recommendations, which very closely paralleled mine last night at the commission meeting as well. So we're here to help. We're not here to be hostile, and we're certainly not going to request that citizens represent our interests. We'd like to do that ourselves. So thank you, sir.
I'm Dan McGinnis, Waste Management, formerly Waste Management, a consultant now. I just want to echo what Charlie said. We have been treated with respect, very professionally, by your Solid Waste Committee. They have a very tough task of sorting through all of the information and trying to get the facts, and they've worked hard, doing a good job of representing the county, and we stand ready to assist the county in any way possible. Thank you.
Thank you again for putting that on the record. Allow me to say this as well, for the benefit of all concerned, whether you are a citizen of Putnam County, whether you're visiting Putnam County, whether you are an elected appointed official, employee, or whatever your classification are, we have a pledge of civility. I'm trying to raise that level of awareness in our community, and it simply says we will be respectful of one another, even when we disagree. We will direct all comments to the issues. We will avoid personal attacks. Under my watch, we will honor that pledge of civility. I will not in any way, shape, form, or fashion discriminate against any citizen that comes before this Board of Commissioners for any reason. You are an American just as we all are. We all have opinions, and sometimes those opinions have facts in them. So what I'm saying to us is this: I will not dishonor or disrespect you in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but when I call a point of order as the chairman of this board, I expect for there to be a moment of silence for me to make the point of order clear, and then we can proceed. So the previous speaker was not asked to stop talking permanently. It was just a request to make a point of order so that this meeting could continue to go and he could conclude and give us a synopsis of his concluding remarks. So I just want the record to reflect that, because that is how we're going to roll in our meetings, because when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, these legislators are required to deliberate, to reach a consensus, and continue to move us forward. Thank you for listening. Commissioners, because we did have a public hearing that was set at a time certain, I'm asking that you concur with me to take the one issue of Planning and Development Services, item 9A, PV 15-001, vacation of Lakeshore Hills subdivision. If there's no objections, then we will hear that case. Then we will go back in order with code enforcement.
So move, sir.
Thank you very kindly. Mr. John Salmons. Any individuals that are here, and I think that there is it Colby Byrne to speak concerning item 9 as well. So please stay close. We'll have the presentation now by our planner.
This is a request by Tim Koss, Michelle Green, and Theodore and Dale Connor to vacate the Lakeshore Hills subdivision. The Lakeshore Hills subdivision is an unrecorded plat that was established back in the early 1980s. No improvements were really ever done on the subdivision. The subdivision contained 475.77 acres and contained 94 lots. A portion of that subdivision was replatted in the late 90s by Gunther Nafby. A significant portion of the subdivision is within the 100-year flood zone, and there are significant wetlands on the property as well. Mr. Cost requested a vesting determination back in 2006, and it was approved subject to Mr. Cost either putting in the roads or an MSBU being established. We actually went through the process of establishing an MSBU, but it kind of died before it actually got totally done. The lots in the subdivision are presently divided into 3 parcels. You can kind of see them outlined there. So they have requested that the plat be vacated and be contained in the 3 lots that are presently in existence. Staff has recommended that the plat of Lakeshore Hills subdivision be vacated as requested. I know Mr. Costa is here, and I think you said somebody else. So,
okay. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Salmon. Mr. Tim Cost, Michelle Green, Theodore, and Dale Connor is one representing of them. Please, Mr. Cost, come state your name and address for the record and share with us what you may have.
Good morning. Tim Cost. Need my address or anything? Or?
Yes, sir. Just
150 Beulah Church Road, Crescent City, Florida, 32112.
All right, sir. Do you have any commentary based on what's being presented and recommended?
No, sir. I think everything's fine.
Okay, as far as what is being presented, represents exactly what the owners are requesting.
Yes,
okay,
correct.
Thank you very kindly. Ms. Kathy, I'm sorry I didn't pronounce your name just right. I was trying to interpret. It says Kathy Byrne. Is that correct? Okay. If you'll have a seat just a moment, then we'll be back to you. Please, ma'am, come forward. State your name and address for the record as well.
It's Kathy Byrne, 1812 County Road 308 in Crescent City.
Good morning.
Thank you. My concern, I didn't exactly understand what was going on here with the vacating. I just got this notice. I understand now that they're separating the property again. Is that correct?
Let the planner put it in layman's term exactly what is happening.
3 parcels that it consists of. 95 lots are going away, and it'll just be 3 parcels.
Okay. My concern is that when I'm a retired state trooper with 31 years experience. I served in Orlando and Dade County. And when I bought the property several years ago, I did it with the intention of retiring here and enjoying the peace and quiet. My concern is that this property, as it's being subdivided now, is it going to be developed? It's my understanding that it's all wetlands back there, and I don't understand the need to separate it if it's not going to be sold and developed.
I think you're going to be more pleased once this is done than what you would have been had it not been done. Absolutely. But I'll let Mr. Salmon address that.
That was
let
my
him
confusion.
step up to the podium and he can shed some more light on it.
Basically, the property is in three people's names right now, and basically all they want to do is keep the parcels they got. There's no development proposal. If there was, they would have to come back through the planning division and request that, and it wouldn't be public hearings. But with the wetlands and the flood zone and the military operating zone issues, that really isn't conducive to development.
Sound like you're safe.
Yes, it was just my concern because I had looked at the property before on the property appraiser's website, and there were no roads or anything in there. And now I'm looking at it, and there are roads in there, and that was my concern: is it being separated to be developed into a subdivision?
No, ma'am, the exact opposite. But
Okay,
thank you
well,
so very much for
Thank you.
coming and inquiring. Are there any other citizens that are wanting to speak concerning the vacation of Lakeshore Hills subdivision? Close the public hearing at this time. Ask the question to each of the commissioners. Has there been any ex parte communications? District 1?
Any communication? I have spoken with Mr. Koss over the years and I'm familiar with the history, but lately with this closing, I have not had any ex parte communication.
Thank you. District 2?
None.
District 4?
None, sir.
District 5?
None.
District 3? None. Council, any points of order?
No, sir.
Okay. At this time, we have before us a recommended action to vacate the plat of Lakeshore Hills subdivision as requested.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'll offer the motion as staff recommendations. But I want to make the point to the lady that was just at the podium that the zoning will go from 1 home and 5 acres to 1 in 100 if this goes forward, to answer your question or fear for your peace and tranquility, which I respect.
I'll second that motion.
We have a proper motion and a second for the approval of vacating the plat. Further discussion, Commissioner deliberations. District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 3? Yes. Approved for vacating. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Okay. Commissioners, we will go back to item 8 on the agenda. Item 8A, request for abatement, case number 2006-01589, Warren E. Foster Sr., 1219 Old Jacksonville Highway, Palatka. Mr. Salmon.
This is a request for abatement, but it's going to be a little different because this is the way the property looked back when we were dealing with it. This is the way it looks today. I was going to ask you to, whatever decision you made about abatement, to give me time to talk to Mr. Foster, because it's clear that he's working on it here. He happens to be here today. And we've talked a little bit, and he can come up here. But I would like to pull this one off the abatement agenda so that we can work out what he wants to do with it and hopefully save this property.
Okay, so would a proper motion to table would be appropriate, or?
Yeah.
you
Move
want
approval, Mr. Chair.
Proper
Second.
motion and a second. Further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. It's off the table. Y'all handle your business. Item 8B, request for abatement, case number 2010-0021, Dorothy Smith, 529 Lenore Avenue, Interlaken.
This property was first seen on March 8th, 2010. The inspection revealed an unsafe mobile home with lots of trash and debris. Notice of violation was sent on March 9th, 2010. The owner came in and pulled the demolition permit on April 8th, 2010. Nothing happened at the site. The demolition permit expired on November 17, 2011. The property, as you can tell from the picture, is accessible, although they have to jump up. There's no steps there anymore, but they have to jump up. The property, according to the code enforcement, is pretty well trashed inside. Special magistrate heard went before the special magistrate on January 20th, 2011. He found the property to be in violation and gave the owner until February 28th, 2011 to come into compliance, or $25 per day fine would commence, and a $100 administrative fee was assessed. Nothing happened, and the lien was recorded on August 23rd, 2011. The property continued to deteriorate. On November 20th, 2014, the special magistrate authorized abatement on this property, and staff is asking you to concur with this recommendation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Salmon. On item 8B, case number 2010-00291, Dorothy Smith. Is the property owner, agent, or neighbor here? Anyone here to speak related to this particular case? Please come forward. State your name and address for the record.
Okay, I knew what happened with this because another lady that co-signed for her new home was a senior citizen, and she is now deceased. And this lady here, Dorothy Smith, is now living in England. So when you do an abatement like something like this, can't something be put into the law where if she comes back to the United States, we can go after her for this money?
We're already getting a lien against the property, right, John?
Yeah, that's the extent of it. Any other public comment on case 2010-00291? Closed public hearing, open commissioner commentary. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval on case number 2010-00291.
We have a proper motion on the floor.
Second.
Second for request for abatement to concur with the recommendation of the special magistrate. This case has been ongoing for 5 years since the initial inspection. Any further discussion?
None, sir.
Okay, entertain at this time. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 8C, request for abatement, case number 2012-00239, Allen and Kathy Butler, 620 State Road 26, Melrose.
This property was first seen on April 23rd, 2012. The additional inspection revealed a home that was significantly damaged by fire. On May 8th, 2012, the owner came in and pulled a demolition permit on May 1st, 2012. Actually, May 8th. On June 30th, 2012, the site inspection showed that a dangerous structure was very unstable. Staff monitored the property and nothing happened. The demolition expired on January 18, 2013. The case went before the special magistrate on March 21st, 2013. He found the property to be in violation and gave the owner until May 21st, 2013 to bring the property into compliance, or a $25 day fine would commence on May 22nd, 2013. Administrative fine was also charged. The case went back before the special magistrate, and he found the property to be in violation and the lien to be recorded. Some things were done at the site, but nothing of significance. The property is now kind of laying on the ground, but it's still there. We went before this special magistrate on November 14, 2014, and he ordered the foreclosure abatement of the property. We're asking you to concur with the recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Salmon. We have a request for abatement on 2012-00239. Is the property owner, agent, or neighbor present? Do we have anyone in the audience that is prepared to speak for or against the requested action? Close the public hearing at this time. Commissioner, deliberations and decisions.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move approval of staff recommendations on this case.
Second.
We have a proper motion and a second that concurs with the recommendation of the special magistrate in order the staff to abate the property. Further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Item D, request for abatement, case number 2013-00167, heirs of Juanita Hill, 1201 Old Jacksonville Highway, Palaca.
This is the request to abate this property. I'm going to show some pictures here. It's right across from Jenkins Middle School. It's being used by either students or street people. It's an attractive nuisance. The property was first seen actually April 3rd, 2013, but back when I was in code enforcement, even back in 2006, we had a case on this. So I don't know what happened to that case, but anyways, this one's going. The house is, I already said that. The special magistrate heard the case on June 20th, 2013, and found it to be in violation. He gave the owner until June 20th, 2012 to bring the property in the compliance, or a $25 a day fine would commence. $1 administrative fee was also charged. Nothing has happened. The special magistrate on March 20th, 2014 ordered the lien to be recorded. The lien was recorded on March 20th. The case went back before the special magistrate on December 15, 2014, and he ordered the property to be abated or foreclosed upon, and staff is requesting that the board concur with that.
We have a request for abatement, case number 2013-00167, heirs of Juanita Hill. Are there any representatives here? Property owner, agent, neighbors. Close public hearing, commissioners.
Mr. Sammons, on
Yes.
this house, it seems to be somewhat square. You can't help but to notice the nice hardwood floors. Is there any way for this to be, or is it suitable to serve as a habitat house?
It's got some flooring issues as far as it's soft, but I assume if somebody other than the people that own it now had control of it, they could probably rehabilitate it.
Okay. It just looks like it's habitable with some electric and a little bit of handiwork.
Right across from middle school.
Yeah, I don't like that. I know it's a problem with the law enforcement. You can see by the photos what we're dealing with. Okay, with that being answered, I'll move approval of staff representation on it.
Second. Proper motion and a second.
Second.
The motion and second is for the recommended action to concur with the special magistrate and authorize staff to abate this property. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item E is a fine reduction request, case number 2011-0034, Anthony Fernand, 111 Hillcrest Road, Satsuma. And also, there is a neighbor, Mac Chandler, that is an interested party. Yes, sir.
The scenario on this case was it was first seen on January 28, 2011. There was significant care premises issue and also a problem with the electrical panel. Notice of violation hearing was sent out on May 19, 2011. On May 19th, for May 19, 2011 hearing back in January. The special magistrate heard the case on May 19th and found the property to be in violation and gave him until June 20th to bring the property into compliance, or a $25 a day fine would commence. And there was also a $100 administrative fee. The lien was recorded on August 22nd, 2011. The property continued to deteriorate on February 26, 2013. Staff received notice of an upcoming tax deed sale on the property. Staff never heard the results of the tax deed sale. The property continued to decline. Staff sent out a notice for a foreclosure and abatement hearing on December 18, 2014. Special magistrate ordered the property be foreclosed or abated. A neighbor down the road Mr. Chandler came into the office and explained that he was tired of this property because it's been a problem property for a long time. He's attempting to buy the property. He became aware of the $33,000 code enforcement lien and didn't want to proceed with the purchase and demolition of the property until he figured out if there was going to be reduction on the fine. I told him that we typically, in those cases, do suggest a fine, but he wanted to have assurance, so we took him through the property's not in compliance now. But he wanted to go through the fine reduction process so he would know what it would be. Staff took the case before the special magistrate on February 19, 2015, and special magistrate recommended the Board of County Commissioners accept $100 in lieu of the fine for the following reasons. The probable new owner will be resolving a long-standing neighborhood problem. He actually owns properties on both sides of this house. He would be spending his own money to bring the property into compliance and get control of the property, and he's taking a proactive role in resolving a neighborhood problem that has been there for some time.
The director has come.
And if I could add just a couple of things. Brian Hammonds, Planning and Development Services Director. In general, we are standing up with folks who are helping us out like this because it keeps us from having to spend county money to clean up a problem. Obviously, what we're after is compliance. We have gotten that. Otherwise, we kind of spend a lot of time sitting around waiting for tax deeds to occur, trying not to spend our money. So by all means, we support anybody that's working with us.
Thank you so
Mr.
much
Chairman?
for the, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So this man has not purchased the property yet because he wants to be sure the fine is removed. I was just wondering if we could make it subject to him purchasing it. I mean, what if we remove the fine?
I think certainly you can do that.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Chandler is here to speak concerning the case. My concern piggybacks off of what Commissioner Harris is saying. We do not want to set a precedent there. And so when you say the probable new owner will be resolving there, I do understand the probable, and I also understand the potential new owner, but we do have to have a safety net in order to protect both sides.
Understood. The action doesn't actually occur until you have actually signed off on the release of lien. So nothing has occurred until you do that.
Yeah, if his attempt to purchase it falls through, then this basically becomes null and void.
Okay, Commissioner Harvey.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. Mr. Hammond, a question for you. We've talked about this in the past. Just so the public knows, what is our hard cost in this $33,950 fine? Because it's really just a paper fine. It's not actual money that we'll ever see coming back from that.
Yeah,
but what is our hard cost in that number?
And I believe it's on the back of your. Yes, on this one it's $936 according to the figures that we've given you. Certainly, as these fines rack up, at some point in time, the fines far exceed the actual underlying value of the property. Therefore, it's just mythical at that point. Whether it goes for taxes, no matter what happens, you're not going to get that money out of it.
Okay.
It does keep a lot of people from actually bidding on tax deeds because if they know or if they're savvy in dealing with tax deeds, they understand that our liens pass through. They survive the sale, and it will keep them from dealing with it. And we certainly don't want to be the impediment that keeps them from working with us and cleaning these things up.
Well, I'm very happy that we're going to be able to retrofit this building, put it back on the tax roll, clean up the neighborhood. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Absolutely, and we're behind the public 100%.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being here with us, and thank you for being a good neighbor who have endured some adverse situations.
This piece of property we're talking about, I moved across the road. I remarried and lived across the road from there's three pieces of property really. And in 2012, the two pieces of property next to me, they were drug addict properties, and they become the people that we knew owned these pieces of property, and they begged me to buy the properties from them just to get out from under it. So I went ahead and did that, and this piece of property at that time, this is back in 2011, 2012, the piece of property across the road at that time, I tried to inquire about it, buying it too. I went ahead and bought these two pieces of property next to me to keep the drug addicts out, really, is what I did. And I fixed them up. I probably spent $50,000 on these two pieces of property. And I'm renting them out. I'll never get my money out of it, but at least my neighborhood is,
better.
You know, it's free. That's why I did that. Right. And at that time, I inquired about this piece of property. Mr. Finney owned it at that time. And so when this all came about lately, I went ahead and had a title search on this piece of property. The piece of property has been in foreclosure, and it's into a lawyer down in Miami. Now, Lloyd Falk, the guy that owned it, has died, and it's in his estate. Well, I called them Friday and told them I was going to meet with y'all. I offered them $3,000 for this piece of property, and I would pay the back taxes on this piece of property and clean it up. So I figure I'll have $10,000 on 2 lots, which is basically worth it. It would give me clean up the property, and my two pieces of property, I'd own everything in between them. Basically what I'm doing. Only thing that I would say, so by my best estimate, if you even reduce this to $100 like this fine, I'm going to have $10,000 in these 2 lots when I figure time I get it cleaned up. The only thing that I can see that maybe that I can get some help on is I noticed the tax deeds on these. I paid the back taxes. Well, in 2012, the taxes was $738. And then in 2012, the taxes went to $170. I'm assuming that they took this building, or what it was, off of it for that 2012. There's a $500 difference in the taxes from 2012 to 2013. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I'm thinking that may be a question for the property appraiser.
So I can go to them and just other.
If you can give Mr. Parker your information before you leave, the property appraiser just so happened he's still here.
And there's another thing that I said, the 2000, the taxes on it now, they paying the $400 garbage pickup that went on the tax bills. That's on this year's. So I'd have to work with them on I think it has to come back before y'all to be approved then on it.
I'm not sure I follow you.
Like the tax bill for this year.
Yes, sir.
They added the $400 for garbage pickup
Assessment.
onto the tax.
That's
so
not.
It's back to $700.
Yeah, that's not an assessment for pickup.
Well, it was for the garbage pickup on this piece of property. Okay. In other words, if you have he said if there's a dwelling, if there's any kind of dwelling on a piece of property, when you get your tax, that $400 for garbage pickup, which is your landfill, is on that tax roll. But there was this piece of property was, you see what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell you. I mean, if not, it's just something that would save me $800 to clean it up. If those two was reduced to the regular yearly tax bill of $170.
I think what he's asking, if I understand him correctly, is there was not a dwelling on there that generated trash.
Well, you can see it's fell down, but yet that $400. I've already inquired about why it went up. The first year, it was 700 something, and then I got it right here, and then it went down the next year to 170. That was in 2012.
Let's allow the property appraiser to do an analysis of the statement there, and then he'll touch bases with the administrator and the director of planning.
Now, I'm interested only if I can work with this lawyer in this state to give me a clear title to this piece of property. And if he can't, I'll get back with you. And if he doesn't do it this month, you're gonna have to, I don't know if you go into foreclosure or what on that part of it, but to get it, I'm interested in it if I can get a clear title on it.
Okay, well, that was the concern, again, that Commissioner Harris brought up there, because obviously we applaud you for stepping up to the plate in the first place, and we just want to make sure that all of the stars align, so to speak, and that everything is in order. So if you'll keep them informed, but I want to consult with council to make sure that the action we take today is a safety net so that everybody wins. We won't.
And I would like to that.
That's the way we've done it before.
And I'd like for that fine to reduce to the $100, because I can't add $33,000 on this.
That's the recommendation that's before, so
Right.
that part is in there. So is there a need to put any exceptions in the motion?
Thank you.
There's no need? What if he doesn't buy it and then we've removed the fines?
Well, that's the practice, John. Correct me if I'm wrong. They are approving this reduction condition on him buying it.
Right.
And we will not sign a release until the time.
So the release will not come for the chairman's signature until such time that there has been a change of ownership.
Correct.
But then even when there's a change of ownership, how much time is allotted for compliance?
60 days is fine.
60 days is fine.
Okay, well, as long as, again, the record reflects the change of ownership and then the 60 days of bringing it into compliance, if that's understood, once it is changed in ownership, then certainly that would clear up our concerns. Is that a motion?
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
one more thing. It says that the $100 would be paid within 30 days. Well, it seems in this case, this won't be satisfied in 30 days.
It would be 30 days from, 60 days now from closing, him getting control of the property.
From closing.
Yeah, so in other words, it'll be a modified action than what we have. Thank you, Commissioner, for
I'll
raising
fix
that
that.
issue. So the recommendation of the special magistrate to accept the $100 in the case, but the 60-day time limit based on change of ownership and compliance.
Does that really cover subject to the purchaser purchasing
Right.
it?
Yep.
Because ownership is going to trigger the 60 days.
All right. I make a motion that we accept the recommendation with the understanding that it is subject to the purchaser following through with the purchase.
Okay, we have a proper motion on the floor.
Second.
Proper second. Further discussion? Case number 2011-0034. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. 8F, fine reduction request, case number 2012-00534. Christy Collins, 4026 Civil Lake Drive, Palatka.
This property was first seen on September 5th, 2012, and it appeared that the property was abandoned and extremely overgrown. Notice of violation was sent out on September 6th of 2012. Staff found an email address for Safeguard Properties, who were the owners at the time, and made contact with them. The representative indicated they would bring the yard into compliance. A new mortgage company was assigned the property, and Safeguard was out of the picture. Staff contacted City Financial and was told that they would also put in an order to clean the property. Nothing really happened. This notice of violation hearing was sent out on March 6, 2013. On April 18, 2013, the special magistrate heard the case and found the property to be in violation and gave the owner until May 18, 2013 to comply. A $100 administrative fee was also charged. Nothing happened. The case went back to the special magistrate on July 18th, and the special magistrate ordered the lien to be recorded. The property went to tax deed sale. It was purchased by Simon Otwell, who called and indicated he had mowed the property in May 8th, 2014. On December 13th, 2014, we received information that Christy Lynn Collins had purchased the property. Her letter, which is attached to the packet, states that she purchased on May 27, 2014, and has paid over $10,000 to bring the house up to standards in the property, and she requested a fine reduction hearing on February 19, 2015. The fine reduction issue was brought before the special magistrate. He recommended that the Board of County Commissioners reduce the $7,400 fine plus $100 to $100 if it's paid within 60 days of BOCC action. Basically, the new owner cleaned up the property and upgraded the home without knowing that there was a code enforcement case. And she said she spent $10,000 to do that. She is present, and I think she would like to discuss the last $100 with you.
Okay, thank you very kindly. If you'll state your name and address for the record.
Good morning. My name's Christy Collins. I live at 103 Park Circle, formerly known as 4026 Silver Lake Drive. I purchased the home last year, May 2014. I spent time in different offices concerning this property. The planning and zoning was not one of them. But no one told me about any fines against the property or fees or anything. And I did have a meeting with the special magistrate, and they did reduce the fine to the $100 administrative fee. But I just feel like it wasn't. The day that I bought the property, I cleaned it up. I started immediately. I just don't feel like that $100 fine should be mine. Like I say, I had no way of knowing that there was anything against it. You know, when I signed the deed, no one told me anything. 8 months later is when I found out. The last paper I got, it showed, I think it was $9,600 fine. And that's for not cleaning up the yard from the prior owner. So I'm just asking, that I'm not held responsible for any of the fines. I have pictures. I've sent pictures to the planning and zoning of the yard, the crepe myrtles, all that's been cleaned up. So that's basically where I stand.
You have something to add, sir?
Yes, sir.
State your name for the record,
I'm,
please. State your name for the record.
My name's Christy.
Wendell Ray, this is Christy Collins. She's my daughter. The question that I have is, why do you bill someone taxes, fees, fines, when it's actually the previous owner that's the responsible one?
Fine is
for the
attached to
fine?
the property, and whoever the owner is, it goes with the property, regardless. And that's why we obviously have to do title searches and have title insurance, and to make sure that those things are in its appropriate place, are there. And that is also the reason that the special magistrate pretty much eliminated the fine. So this is not necessarily a fine; it's an administrative fee.
Well, during the last meeting that we had here, almost everyone agreed that she shouldn't have to pay any fine. But the special magistrate had, he put the $100 on it, which is.
And that's not the fine. The fine is waived. That's an administrative fee there. But we'll go into commissioner deliberations.
I had a question, if I could, Mr. Chairman. Did you purchase your title insurance when you bought this property? It couldn't.
No,
it would have revealed the outstanding.
Well, I went to a place right next to the courthouse and signed the title there. He signed it over. I signed my thing, and.
But you didn't take out the insurance.
But no, I had no.
It would have revealed.
It was my
the
first
things you're
time.
asking about.
I did not know.
But as the chairman said, the fines were reduced by the special magistrate, and you're dealing with a fee at this point.
Yeah.
Actually, if I may, we are the ones that make the final decision on reducing the fine. It's a recommendation by the special magistrate.
Right, I understand.
But just word to the wise, whenever you purchase a property, you should have the title searched, get title insurance. There could be a lot worse things on it than
I've
this.
learned my lesson.
Okay.
I think our question is, I understand you're saying that the fines and fees and everything comes with the new owner, but why don't you go after the old owner? They're the real.
It's tied to the property.
Right, I understand that, but it just doesn't seem right that the previous owner,
Or there should be some kind of thing that when you buy a piece of property, there should be some kind of red flag.
It is.
To let you know, hey,
I don't
you
see
know,
that.
there's fines and things against this place.
Yeah.
Had I known, I probably wouldn't have purchased the place.
Well, again, sometimes when you're dealing with a real estate agent or a broker, you know, or any of those individuals, they're and even a title company, these are the kind of things that are there for check and balance to make sure that this kind of thing does not occur. However, when you look at it from the perspective, although the fine was tied to the property too, I think we have to be mindful of the fact that since the fine really could stay in place, and so I think grace has certainly been extended there, and it has to be a teachable moment for all concerned. And so don't look at it as a penalty. Look at it as a fee that is administratively there. And if you look at it as a penalty, actually the penalty is the other number.
Yes.
The
I don't wanna hear
7,400,
it.
that's the penalty. So I think that, you know, you could easily cause us to set a precedent there for future cases there, and that would be our reluctance to even consider taking the administrative fee and treating it like it's a fine. We're not treating it like it's a fine. It's nothing that's, quote, in your record that makes it appear that you did not do anything but due diligence, and we applaud you just as we applauded the other gentleman for stepping up there. So it's not a fine, it is definitely an administrative fee.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
John, was Arlene of record when she purchased the property? So you would probably have a claim against the seller of the property for failing to disclose that to you. But it would have shown up in a title search, as people have said.
You just got $100 worth of free legal advice.
Thank you. Free, huh?
And I'd like to point out on our page, and I'd be glad to give you this, our agency here has incurred $763 in administrative costs.
That's right.
With personnel following this property, not the old owner or you, but
Proper.
going out and trying to get it conformed so it's not such an eyesore in our community. Nobody's picking here, but to reduce to $763 further in the administrative side down to $100, the special magistrate was being very, very gracious.
Yes, he was.
At the point. Yes, ma'am. And you're welcome to have this if you'd like that.
Mr. Chairman, go ahead.
I'll give you the whole case. How about that?
Commissioner Harvey.
Yes. And it has a breakdown of everything in there. Yep.
Ms. Collins, I see that in your letter that you're a single grandmother with custody of your 7-year-old grandson.
Yes, sir.
And you're working only part-time, understanding that $100 is a lot of money to a lot of people right now in this economy. If we did go with that, we're going to give you 60 days to do that. Would that be acceptable enough to pay that?
Yes,
Okay, I just wanted to ask that question. Thank you.
Not that her dad won't shorten the days.
I like the shirt, too.
Do I have a motion down there, Mr.? Oh, I'm not.
Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd love to make a motion on case number 2012-00534. I move approval under staff recommendations.
Okay, we have a proper motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you all so much. Thank you for doing what you've done.
God bless.
I'm sorry, I forgot. I was in a time warp for a minute. I'm sorry.
Inside story. Okay, item G, fine reduction request, case number 2014-0004, Carlin Welch, 158 Tawana Trail, Melrose. Mr. Salmons.
This property was first seen on January 3rd, 2014. A mobile home was brought onto the site to basically just sit there without any permits or approval of moving it. The issue had cases opened before without success. Before we started this one, those cases were closed and we started this one. A notion of violation of hearing was sent on January 9th, 2014. The owner called on March 13th, 2014, and staff directed her to our list of demolition contractors. On March 20th, 2014, the special magistrate ruled that the property was in violation and gave the owner until May 19th, 2014 to come into compliance, or a $25 a day fine would commence. A $100 administrative fee was also charged. On April 11th, 2014, the contractor pulled the demolition permit. The recheck on May 20th, 2014 showed that the mobile home had been demolished, but a lot of debris had been left on site. Staff waited a few days to see if the property would be brought into compliance, but it did not. The special magistrate ordered the fine be recorded as a lien against the property on October 16, 2014. Ms. Welch discussed the case with staff and indicated that her ex-husband had put the mobile home on the property without her knowledge. And she also mistakenly thought her contractor completed the job, so she, in the allotted time, so she didn't think she was in violation anymore. She asked if she could have a fine reduction hearing on the case. The fine reduction hearing was held on February 9, 2015. Special magistrate recommended that the board accept $200 in this case if it's paid within 45 days of board action. Rationale for his recommendation was the ex-husband brought the mobile home on the property without her knowledge, and the owner obtained a permit in good hopes that the mobile home would actually be down within the time frame given by the special magistrate, but the contractor she hired did not do the job.
Mr. Salmons, is the property currently in compliance?
Yes.
Okay, that would be number 3 for me, because it's like, you know what? Is it in or is it out? All right. Is anyone here representing this case, 2014-0004?
She lives in Miami, and I told her that if you guys were going to divert from this, that I would ask you continue it so that she could actually come, but it's a long way to drive for,
Absolutely.
actually, about a 2-hour, 2-hour
Gave
hearing.
good advice, sir.
Yes.
What is the pleasure of the board as it relates to the recommended action?
So move approval of recommended action by the special magistrate.
Have a proper
Second.
motion and a second. Further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Anything else, sir?
Nope, you're through seeing me today.
All right. Okay, don't sound so happy about that. All right, Mr. Leary, you're next.
Thanks, sir. Have 2 appointments to be made to the Greenbelt Advisory Board. I believe Mr. Parker has submitted some recommendations, some names in recommendation for your consideration. They're not contained in the agenda. You may have already received those. If not, I can remind you of who those names are.
Okay, for the Greenbelt Advisory Board, 2 appointments to fill unexpired terms ending June 30th, 2017. District 1, Coward, District 5, Alford. Do this district commissioners have any commentary?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate John Newbold to serve as the replacement for Mr. Coward, who served for many years.
Okay, John Newbold, District 1, District 5.
Yes, Mr. Mike Barrican. I've called him and he's graciously accepted.
Okay, we have 2 recommended appointees. Is there a motion to approve the 2 for the Greenbelt?
One more correction.
Yes, ma'am.
There are 2 John Newbolds. This is John Newbold III, Jr.
Third. John J.R. Newbold III.
Yeah.
Okay, want to make sure we got the right one.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'd also like to say Danny Tilton had contacted me about these appointments. He's with the Cattlemen's Association and feels very comfortable that these 2 individuals will represent the Greenbelt in a proper manner that it needs to happen. So I make a motion that we accept the 2 individuals that have been proposed.
Mr. Chairman, I think Mr. Parker.
Mr. Parker, please come
I'm
forward.
sorry.
I apologize for the confusion. It was senior, the second, or junior, that accepted that position.
It's Jr., right?
The dad,
Oh, it's the dad?
not the son, yeah.
John.
Oh.
Oh, okay. I thought that my,
JR.
Not Jay.
I
Scratch the
apologize
third
for
from the record
And
and
you
put
spoke-
junior.
okay.
Junior, yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you very kindly. We know there's competency on both levels, so that's good news. Okay.
Okay, we have a motion.
Motion.
Yes, I'll clean that motion up.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I agree.
Motion covers John Newbold Jr. and Mike Barrican. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Proper second. Further discussion. Those in favor for the appointment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign. Hearing none. Motion carries. What else, Mr. Leary?
Nothing further, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Russ Castleberry, County
Nothing
Attorney.
today, sir.
That's your final answer?
Yes, sir.
All right. Clerk of Court, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At a prior meeting, there was some discussion about the Better Place Plan expenditures. And so I went back and had a discussion with John Jones, our finance director, and I asked him what the possibility to, would be to create a Excel spreadsheet of prior year expenditures by the projects. And so he's put that together. It's in a format that someone knows how to work Excel can reformat it. So if you just want to pull up a contractor name, you would see all of the expenditures by that contractor. If you had a name that you wanted to look for, or just a year, or a project, you could do it that way. And so I had that reviewed by administration, and to make sure that the descriptive words that we used were correct, and they've done that. And so we wanted to offer that and to be able to place that on the website so that folks at home could do their own research. We're going to continue to try to expand that spreadsheet so that it has more and more information, but that was about a 3-day work effort for a couple of individuals to pull that together, because we had not created that spreadsheet and kept those figures in that format before. We have them, but they're just in individual files. They're in individual accounts, but we wanted to try to compile that. So just like you had with your list prior, where you were able to show the roads, this shows all the expenditures. And so we're going to be, with your blessing, we'd like to post that on the website. So it's just one more layer of information. Folks can do their research at home or at their business on what has been expended. And these are just expenditures that we have paid a bill for. So, but it's important to know that it doesn't tell the whole story, because like in the case of the welcome sign out at the Triangle Park that was built, that was a collaboration of GP and several government entities, and what we show was what the county's part was. So you have to know that there is a little more research to really see the impact of some of these projects. But with your blessing, we'd like to post that on the website.
I entertain a motion that we bless the clerk.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I wanted to also bless him and thank him. Thank you very much for that. Just on your own, that just shows what kind of clerk you are. We really appreciate your help. And I just wanted to know, what website will you put it on, and how will people go to it?
Yeah, we'll work with IT to make sure that it's easily identifiable.
It'll be on the commissioner's website? Okay.
And the clerk website.
On both, okay.
Wherever you look, you'll be able to see it. Yeah.
Thank you. With that, I'll be glad to make a motion that we do that.
Second. And I'd like to comment to thank John and your staff and Tim,
Yes.
of course, you. And we've had a request just a little while ago for that same set of figures. Much needed. Thank you.
Again, your initiative and your leadership in this effort. And everyone need to know that we're not out campaigning for this. I know there are some individuals who are campaigning against this. And all I ask all of our citizens to do is do their homework. And we want to make sure that we provide, just as the clerk has mentioned, provide every tool that you need to make a conscious choice and a conscious decision as it relates there. And if we will look at the Better Place Plan projects and expenditures, as well as the income, and separate that from how you feel about a specific commissioner or about administrative staff or any department, then I believe that we will all come up with the same conclusion there. And so thank you again. This is phenomenal. And my request for all of us is that even for the rest of the current term of Better Place Plan, is that we continue to provide to the clerk the support that is needed to share this information, because it's not like it's private or it's hidden. It just was not put on the website and accessible to individuals without them having to launch their own analysis and investigation. So thank you from the bottom of our heart. Motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, yeah, this is great, and I'm sure this will not only answer a lot of questions, this will settle a lot of issues as it relates to individuals that have opinions as to what has been done and what hasn't been done. So thanks again for that. District 1, any closing comments?
No.
District 2?
Great weekend, Zaya Festival. Mayor's reception was a success, in my opinion, the best one we ever had, and well attended. It was a busy month, as we know. March Madness,
Yes.
March of Dimes, the fair's coming up, and many, many things. We have a fishing tournament. Mr. Pellicer, I'll let you comment on that. this weekend.
That's the Crescent City High School Welding Department. They're trying to have a fundraiser, be at the waterfront Saturday. I think they'll weigh in at 3. You haven't told me your schedule. You're going to be able to help me that morning?
Talk about that later.
Oh, Lordy. That afternoon, or that morning to afternoon, I will be in Interlaken myself, cooking ribs for the Interlaken High School softball team.
Okay.
So busy for me this weekend. But is it my turn to say?
Well, since you own, you kind of had a segue, so you're fine. I'm sure Mr. Harvey will.
You get to go next to last this time. This Better Place plan, you know, I hear so many naysayers say about it. I invite you to pick it apart. Pick it apart. I mean, it's here. It's been audited where the money's gone. Numbers don't lie. They do not lie. You know, so.
And make your decision after you pick it apart.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But give it fair benefit of the doubt until then. You know, like I said, no grievance was Mr. Flagg said with any particular commissioner that is here or was here, but it'll be a sad day in Putnam County without this.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Harvey, sir.
Yes, the Azalea Festival, my job was to put the parade together, and most of y'all were there. It was a very well-attended parade, and things went off very well. And just happy to be able to serve Putnam County in the position I am. I did attend the dredging project meeting last night in Duval County, and just sat back and listened to a lot of the comments that were made, and didn't make a comment at all. But I just wanted everybody to know that I was in the room, and there was about probably 5 of us citizens from Putnam County in attendance last night.
Also, comments on Boy Scout.
Oh, yes.
Weekend.
Yeah, I went out to the Boy Scout complex and was invited to, we were all invited to the groundbreaking, but as Commissioner Flagg always says, we can't be in 2 places at one time, and it's a big county. And since the Boy Scout area was in my district, I showed up and was able to do the groundbreaking out there. And I tell you what, you talk about a bunch of deserving projects and people that are really trying to work with the neighbors. There was probably about 15 neighbors in attendance, and we're very excited about all the changes that are happening at the Boy Scout Ranch.
Yes.
So thank you.
It's really commendable, and I think that also this week, Thursday, they have the Boy Scout dinner. Clerk, can you shed some light on that, please?
Yes, sir. That's this Thursday night at 6:30 at the Ravine Gardens. Individuals have been invited to attend, and it is a fundraiser for the Boy Scout dinner, and it's their annual American Leadership Dinner, and they're going to honor this year's recipient of their outstanding meritorious award to Mr. Dan Martinez for his years of service to Boy Scouts.
Yes, and it's certainly a very commendable occurrence and very outstanding leadership over the years from our community. Commissioners, just something for us to be mindful of. It's not, we don't have a hunting dog in this hunt, but the information concerning the issue with the Fair Authority and the Festival Committee, I'm hoping that we can encourage them to get together for future years in case this issue comes up there, just for them to work out some details, because it's going to probably always be close to that 30-day window for the festival downtown as well as the fair. And I don't think that the magnitude of what they have downtown is really going to have as much of an adverse effect on people. People, for fair reasons, I don't know where they go, what bank they deal with, but they get money when those events come to town, and I don't want it to become a tug of war there. So again, it's nothing officially that we need to take action on, other than I just want us to promote cooperation among all entities, because we all need each other and we all need to support each other there. And so just wanted to bring that information to the table. Anything else for the good of the order? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Everyone continue to have a blessed day.
Thank you.
You can have my copy.
I was gonna see if we could have brought him in here this morning.
He had to fly out.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he
Okay.
was getting on the plane.
Oh, okay. Who took